1. Listening more, speaking less shows good character. A person of good character knows how to control their emotions, speaks thoughtfully, and always considers others' feelings first, preferring to listen more than to assert themselves. In life, our intelligence and wisdom are often demonstrated through our behavior and speech. Gaining good fortune often requires controlling anger. The book Thy Condemn advises, do not be quick to anger or to look down on others. A good temperament is not only valuable in social interactions but is a lifelong asset. Being patient and waiting for others to finish speaking before responding sounds simple but is actually quite challenging. It is a deep reflection of one's character development. Calm waters run deep. A cultured person speaks deliberately, adding depth to their words. Speaking calmly and evenly is a primary sign of a well-cultured person. Thy Condemn also outlines 3 key principles of mature behavior. Do not interrupt. Many people tend to interrupt others, believing themselves to be smarter. Imagine friends listening to an exciting story when someone interrupts to reveal the ending, spoiling it for everyone. The book notes, even if 9 out of 10 things you say are correct, the one incorrect thing can lead to serious consequences. Avoid impulsive reactions. When stressed or hurried, people are more likely to interrupt. Words once spoken are irreversible, and impulsive words often lead to regret once calm is restored. Respect others by listening. True enjoyment in speaking one's mind comes from a foundation of respecting others. The fact that humans have 2 ears but only 1 mouth suggests we should listen more than we speak. This requires setting aside our ego to truly understand and care for others involved in the conversation. In 1960s rural America, a boy enthusiastically told his mother he was trying to jump high enough to reach the moon. His mother patiently listened to his imaginative journey. Years later, that boy, Neil Armstrong, became the first person to walk on the moon. If his mother had not listened to his seemingly fanciful story, the world might not have had its great astronaut. As Thy Condemn says, the mouth is the door of the heart. A cultivated person always has room in their heart for others, making them a good listener, a quality that enriches their inner life. By maintaining calm and patience, even amidst turmoil, a person of character manages to quickly regain their composure, keeping their joys and sorrows private, thus appearing mature and composed to those around them. 2. Living with wisdom and peace. 5 principles for a contented life. 1. Wise individuals don't dwell on the past. A wise person understands that life is a challenging journey and we are all just passing through. Dwelling on the past only brings sadness, so it's better to live in the moment, release useless attachments, and make the most of every second. Your past might have its share of sad stories, but ultimately, those moments have passed, and focusing on them cannot change anything. Instead, let your spirit soak up some warmth, allowing time to leave its mark. 2. Effortful individuals don't question the present. Even if your current situation isn't ideal and you feel exhausted and uncertain every day, you shouldn't doubt yourself or settle for less. Life is like a savings book. You invest a bit of effort every day and eventually it will pay off. People who prepare for opportunities will shine like gold. No matter how your present circumstances are, do not regret or boast, but keep pushing yourself. 3. Generous individuals don't worry about the future. People say that both children and the elderly smile so purely because children are just beginning their lives with unburdened hearts, and the elderly have seen it all and are unobstructed by worries. If everyone could adopt this mindset, life would be much more peaceful. Many people create their own worries by fearing what the future may hold, but every situation will eventually find its resolution in time. 4. Matters do not question right or wrong. It's about being true to oneself. Every person is a unique individual, and no two people are exactly alike. We all see with the same eyes, but our perspectives differ. We speak with the same mouths, but our words vary. As long as you are true to your conscience, there's no need to fear others' judgments. 5. Life doesn't ask about results, only about the effort put in. Life requires bravery to move forward, regardless of the hardships and exhaustion. It's only through your efforts that you can achieve results. Without effort, nothing significant can be accomplished. I hope that everyone's life can move forward without regrets and become increasingly joyful and comfortable. 3. Understanding character through speech, words as reflections of the heart. You can tell if someone is good or bad by the way they talk. Words reflect the heart, meaning that the nature of a person's character can be seen through their words, actions, and gestures. Here are some ways to differentiate good people from bad ones through their speech. First, always remember, words reflect the heart. It is often said that speech is the clearest reflection of a person's virtues. Speaking kindly is crucial for maintaining good karma. In reality, no husband wants to come home to a wife who constantly criticizes. No child is happy with parents who are harsh rather than gentle. And no one enjoys being around someone who speaks bitterly or with malice. People with good destiny are those who speak modestly, each word reflecting good moral character. They do not harshly criticize others, ramble on, or boast about their deeds. Their words are always sincere, meant to encourage and uplift others. Second, deep waters run still, and respectable people speak deliberately. Thoughtless comments often arise when you're tired, overworked, stressed, or disappointed. To avoid this, whenever you're unsure about what you're about to say, ask yourself, will my comment improve this relationship, or will it drive us apart? This simple question can give you a moment to think before you speak. Third, speaking is a skill, but knowing what not to say is wisdom. 1. Don't complain. Life is short. If you face problems, try to resolve them rather than wasting time complaining. Remember the teachings. Avoid needless words as they bring no benefit. 2. Don't discourage others. Some people demoralize others when they themselves are down. Life needs encouragement, and if no one else is cheering for you, you must uplift yourself. 3. Avoid angry words. When angry, people often say things that can hurt others or themselves. Stay calm and avoid saying things in the heat of the moment. 4. Don't boast. Overconfidence often leads to failure due to jealousy or resentment from others. Remember, it's better not to say things that might attract negative attention. 5. Avoid blaming. Constantly blaming others can lead to gossip and conflict, making life harder for yourself. Why make life difficult for yourself? 6. Don't talk behind someone's back. I vow not to speak of others' faults is a vow of the Bodhisattva. Understand the stories of others before passing judgment. 7. Keep private matters private. Everyone has their private affairs that they don't want shared. Discussing others' private matters can damage your reputation and future happiness. 8. Avoid lying. Dishonesty is discouraged in many teachings. It's said, speak only what you see and do not fabricate. Using kind words and maintaining a positive attitude towards others is a way to build good fortune for oneself.
If you like this video, please comment 1. And if you don't, comment 2. Your feedback means a lot to us. Thank you for your valuable time.
4. 3 valuable communication tips from GUZI. Wealth is in the mouth. Wise and eloquent speakers can easily gain the favor of others. They also build broad and solid networks, opening up more opportunities for personal and professional growth. Therefore, communication skills have become indispensable for everyone. Historically, China has had many remarkable figures known for their diplomacy and cunning strategies, including GUZI. He is recognized as the founder of the School of Vertical and Horizontal, a school of diplomacy during the Warring States period, and was the master of many distinguished disciples like Su Qin and Zhang Yi. For generations, he has been celebrated as a genius. GUZI shared 3 valuable communication formulas. If you're not good at communicating, remember and apply these 3 tips to improve your life significantly. First, when speaking with people of high status, maintain confidence. Historically, such people were often wealthy officials or belonged to noble families, educated from a young age to develop a noble demeanor. In modern times, these are well-educated, successful individuals. Meeting such people might make one feel intimidated, but GUZI advises to confidently hold your ground. Don't be obsequious or overly proud, but maintain a level of politeness and composure. This way, you will earn their respect. Second, when talking to wise people, be sincere. Wise people often understand and can expand on what you're saying before you've even finished. Interacting with them can feel daunting because they can seem to see right through you. The best approach is to be honest and straightforward, expressing your genuine intentions. Wise individuals will recognize and appreciate your sincerity, reciprocating in kind. Third, when dealing with deceitful people, steer clear of discussions about money. Such individuals often appear in business and work contexts. Although you might need to interact with them, it's wise to be careful with your words and actions, especially avoiding any talk of money or personal gain. This can prevent feelings of envy or schemes to exploit you for personal benefit. These 3 teachings are profound insights drawn from real-life experiences. Learning and applying these tips can greatly enhance your daily communication skills. 5. Mastering the art of communication. Ancient wisdom for modern times. 1. The wisdom of the ancients makes you a master in communication. Talking is an art. Wise people are careful with their words, speaking from the heart only when necessary and at the right time. Those who know how to speak well include everyone in the conversation, making them people everyone wants to befriend. 2. A gentleman does not misstep, show disrespect, or speak out of turn. In essence, a gentleman is cautious in actions and words in front of others, maintaining dignified and correct behavior and never speaking out of line. Insight. Knowing how to communicate involves being careful with words, actions, and expressions, not saying or doing what should not be said or done. This is how a gentleman cultivates himself. Often the success or failure of matters depends on whether one speaks appropriately and timely. 3. Official matters should not be discussed privately. Work that involves everyone should not be secretly discussed on the side. Insight. Official business should be openly discussed and handled together. Discussing it privately can lead to suspicions of dishonest or personal motives. A skilled communicator not only says what should be said, but also knows the right place to say it. Confucius taught that one should not make plans where they do not belong, emphasizing the importance of discussing matters in the appropriate context. 4. At court, do not talk about frivolous things. The court is a place for serious business, not for idle talk about games or entertainment. Work should be approached with professionalism and discipline. Insight. At work, even during downtime, avoid casual banter as it creates a non-serious atmosphere and can lead to a lack of professionalism. Instead, using free time for deep research, reading, or reflection is more beneficial. 5. Do not discuss women in official settings. At work, discussion should not delve into topics of entertainment or frivolity. Conversation should be timely and appropriate. Insight. Desires, such as those for pleasure, are significant human temptations. Ancient wisdom teaches that these urges should be controlled through reason and strength of will. The foundational texts of traditional Eastern medicine advise that calmness leads to a healthy life, free from desires that can disturb peace of mind. 6. Speak of relevant matters in the relevant places. At court, speak of courtly matters. In an office, speak of office matters. Each place has its appropriate topics. Insight. A person cannot be perfect but should strive for completeness. Learning how to respond appropriately according to the situation and place helps maintain harmonious relationships. In official settings, stick to relevant topics, and among business people, discuss business matters. A cultivated person adjusts their conversation topics to suit the social standing and context of those they are speaking with. 7. During mourning, do not speak of happy matters. During rituals, do not speak of harmful things. When mourning, it is disrespectful to engage in jovial talk. Rituals require speaking only of solemn matters. Insight. Loud and frivolous talk is disrespectful to the deceased and their family. Thus, it is necessary to speak softly and act gently, showing sincerity and respect. 8. If it is not your place to speak of it, a gentleman would feel ashamed to do so. Discussing something without taking action on it also brings shame. In any given role, not offering necessary input or discussing something without follow-through is considered shameful. Insight. In any position, one should discuss and act within the responsibilities of that role. Failing to do so is considered negligent. It's also vital to align words with actions. People who talk a big game without follow-through are generally not respected. In life and work, it's better to speak less and act more, humbly and genuinely. 9. Do not speak out of turn with superiors. If a superior does not bring up a topic, it should not be mentioned. Let them lead the conversation. Insight. Speaking with respect to elders or superiors shows reverence and earns their respect in return. This doesn't mean just agreeing with everything, it means respectfully waiting for the right moment to speak. Even Confucius, a revered sage, learned from a young man, showing that humility and learning from everyone regardless of status leads to growth in knowledge and wisdom. 10. When speaking with a gentleman, do not ignore others around you before responding. This is not polite. Politeness involves humility. If in a group, look to others before responding to a question from a superior. Observe everyone's input before speaking. Insight. Words should come from the heart, sincerely and wisely. Talking with superiors or in a group requires patience and observance of others' expressions. Speaking out of turn or without considering others can lead to disrespectful or harmful comments. Being ethical and respectful in conversation involves being genuine, humble, and appropriate in one's words and actions. 6. Roots and blossoms. Once upon a time, there was a young man who always liked to brag about himself in front of others. One day, his mentor took him to a tree and asked, "Do you think the top of this tree looks beautiful?" "Of course, it's beautifully blooming with fresh flowers," the disciple quickly replied. Just then, a gust of wind blew and the tree rustled. "Did you hear that?" the mentor asked. "Absolutely. The sound from the top of the tree is so clear and pleasant," the young man hastily answered. "But do you know what the top of the tree is called in Chinese? It's called mat." The mentor then pointed to the base of the tree and continued, "Do you see the roots of the tree? Can you hear any sound from the roots?" The young man furrowed his brows and responded, "No, the roots are buried in the ground. How can I see them? Moreover, the roots are quiet. How can I hear them? But do you know what the roots are called in Chinese? They are called ben, the mentor explained. This means, while the flowering top might be noisy and attract attention from those around, it is very fragile and could break easily with a strong wind, and then it wouldn't have any value afterwards. The roots, however, although quiet and even buried, are the foundation of life. Without them, there would be no tree, no branches, and certainly no flowers to catch the wind and show off. Do you understand what I mean? The young man bowed his head and nodded quietly, grasping the deep meaning of his mentor's words. From then on, he became more reserved, spoke more thoughtfully, and especially stopped boasting in front of others. 7. The Wisdom of Measured Speech. Lessons from Kwang Tu Nha. Kwang Tu Nha once taught about the way a gentleman should speak, saying, "Sometimes you need to keep your mouth shut and be careful with your words." This famous quote comes from Tai Kong Kim Kwai, where he advises King Chu Vu. The message, passed down through generations, is that one should be cautious with their speech. Throughout history, successful people have valued the art of speaking wisely. Even Confucius said, "Be cautious with words and sensitive and smart with actions." Careless speech can not only hurt others but also bring trouble upon oneself. Thus, cultivated individuals don't speak recklessly without basis. They think carefully, pay attention, and restrain themselves. They don't ramble on endlessly, boast, or show off. Wise people use their brains before their mouths. Before speaking, you should consider what to say and what not to say, when and how to say it. Every word can either build you up or tear you down. Just as you wouldn't eat carelessly, you shouldn't speak without thought. In life, it's crucial to pull back harsh words that could harm others and maintain a standard of behavior. This is a vital rule for interacting with people. 8. 10 things you should never say to anyone. 1. Never discourage others. Everyone faces challenges and low points in their lives. While it might feel overwhelming, it's often not as bad as we think. We just need to learn to think more openly and positively. Constant negativity and discouraging words can lead someone into despair. It's important to encourage not only others but also ourselves. 2. Avoid speaking in anger. Anger can be like poison to oneself. It's a natural reaction to frustrating situations, but excessive anger can harm your mental health and lead to regrettable actions. When upset, it's better to stay calm and not lash out, as angry words can deeply hurt others and even affect relationships permanently, especially with family or close friends. 3. Don't complain and blame. Frequent complaints and blaming others can lead to gossip and conflict. It not only strains relationships but also burdens you with unnecessary stress. Why make life harder for yourself? 4. Don't speak ill of others. Have you ever been hurt by someone's careless words? Speech can be a powerful weapon. Casual insults or thoughtless comments can cause lasting pain. Being reckless with words can hurt others, and sometimes it can backfire on you. 5. Refrain from boasting. Boasting can annoy others and might lead to losing the very things you are proud of. Pride in achievements is natural, but excessive boasting can harm others' self-esteem and might turn them against you. True greatness doesn't need to be announced, it's recognized by others. 6. Avoid lying. In Buddhism, a core teaching is to avoid lying. Telling lies, whether small or big, can lead to severe consequences and loss of trust. Remember the story of the boy who cried wolf. It teaches us about the dangers of lying. 7. Keep secrets confidential. Secrets, whether personal or professional, are meant to be kept. Disclosing them can have serious implications, including legal consequences for revealing confidential information. 8. Respect privacy. Everyone has their private matters, and just as you wouldn't want yours disclosed, it's respectful to keep others' privacy as well. Sharing someone's private affairs without their consent shows a lack of integrity. 9. Be cautious with personal confessions. Sharing deep personal thoughts and feelings with someone you just met can be risky. They may not hold your confidences with the care they deserve, and sharing too much, too soon can lead to discomfort or betrayal. 10. Don't reveal your future goals prematurely. Publicizing your goals can actually decrease the likelihood of achieving them, according to research by Professor Peter Gallwitzer from New York University. Keeping your goals private maintains their motivational power and shields you from potential scrutiny or derision. These guidelines help maintain respect and harmony in relationships while fostering personal integrity and inner peace. If you find these stories inspiring and they motivate you to take action, please comment 9. If not, comment 0. Your feedback means a lot to us. Thank you for your valuable time. 9. 5 wise communication techniques to create a good impression. Anywhere. 1. Be bold and start conversations. Just like learning a new language, you become fluent and precise only by bravely starting conversations and practicing regularly. To communicate wisely, practice by overcoming insecurities and shyness to engage with people. Whether it's with anyone, treat them as a normal person in front of you and open up a conversation. The key to wise communication is to first dare to speak. Using emotional intelligence, expressing yourself clearly and logically are big pluses. Also, paying attention to the context and situation when conversing is equally important. 2. Listen well and don't annoy others in crowded places. A wise communicator is also a good listener, understanding others' feelings and thoughts. How to understand better? Put yourself in their shoes and delve into their story. You might gain a deeper insight into what they are trying to convey. Listening is the key to connecting and a foundation for respect and sharing. Besides listening, it's important to express your views moderately and avoid making others feel uncomfortable, especially in crowded places. 3. Praise more, criticize less, but how? Compliments bring positive energy and happiness, but praising is also an art. Overdoing it can come off as insincere or flattering. Instead of vague or insincere compliments, try to give genuine praise by focusing on specific details about the person to highlight their unique positive traits. This wise communication technique makes the person feel noticed and cared for, and of course, creates a significant good impression. 4. Add some humor, keep conversations positive, don't complain too much. Humor is a talent not everyone possesses. It's a wise communication method in life if used correctly. If you're humorous, you're likely to attract people with your engaging and fun stories. However, be mindful of the situation to keep the humor appropriate. If humor isn't your strength, don't worry. Instead, share your positive, optimistic, and cheerful energy. Sharing is a human need. While joy brings positive energy, be mindful about sharing sorrows too much, as it can negatively affect others' feelings toward you. 5. Don't rush to deny criticism. There's an old saying, "The truth hurts, but it cures." Not all criticism is bad, especially from superiors or close connections. When receiving feedback, don't hastily deny it, nor should you feel outraged or embarrassed. Calmly accept and analyze the issue. Reviewing yourself is a way to improve daily. Depending on your perception, someone criticizing you might be attacking you or possibly trying to help you improve. Either way, staying calm is a likable trait to cultivate in such situations. 10. To understand whether someone is good or bad, pay attention to these 2 points. 1. gratitude towards those who have helped them. Everyone knows the words, thank you, but not everyone can truly express them. When people face difficulties, you might help them, but when you are in trouble, they might not return the favor. With the fast pace of modern life, people often become indifferent, not always repaying those who have assisted them. When you help others out of kindness, they might not only fail to appreciate it, but might also take you for granted. If you want to know if someone is truly good and trustworthy, see if they show gratitude and repay kindness. When looking for a companion, seek someone who truly appreciates you. Only then does your sacrifice and dedication become meaningful. 2. How they react to personal gain. There's a practical saying that the true nature of a person is revealed during conflicts over interests. Some may fight others for profit, some may compromise their morals for it, and for some, their only concern is profit, even if it means showing their worst traits. For example, one business owner might focus only on quantity over quality to dominate the market with inferior products. Another might prioritize quality, believing it to be essential. The first might face scandals and business failure due to harming consumers, while the second stands firm with a reputable business. From another perspective, how someone handles interests reflects whether they have long-term vision. Those who sacrifice their morals for immediate gains are foolish, lacking foresight. On the other hand, focusing on long-term benefits is wise and humane. Furthermore, the old wisdom offers another way to gauge someone. To understand someone's background, look at their friends. Friends reflect a person's lifestyle, behavior, and character. If you are good and live healthily, you naturally won't associate with problematic or dangerous people, but with those who share your lifestyle. To know someone's character, observe how they wake up. Someone who starts the day with a smile is likely easygoing and cheerful. Conversely, someone who begins with a frown is probably grumpy and hard to approach. To see if someone truly cares about you, watch how they act during your tough times. When you face life's challenges, how someone supports you shows their true nature. If they stand by you, congratulations. You found a sincere, kind-hearted person. To understand someone's upbringing, observe how they treat the elderly and children. Older adults and children can be demanding. Observing how someone behaves towards them can tell you a lot about their upbringing. If they remain gentle and patient, it shows they are rational, thoughtful, and well-raised. To judge someone's integrity, watch how they keep their promises. A trustworthy person will keep their promises and not just say what others want to hear to gain favor. To see someone's true intentions, look into their eyes. The eyes are the window to the soul and cannot lie. If someone is honest and serious, their gaze will be firm and straightforward. If they are deceitful or manipulative, their shifting eyes will betray their true intentions. 11. Life doesn't need blame. Everything is already planned. Blaming and complaining only bring negative emotions and make one selfish, self-centered, and focused on others' faults, leading to failure. In life, blaming is a purely negative emotion filled with negative energy, causing us to see only others' faults and not our own shortcomings. Instead of complaining about fate, it's better to change it. Instead of resenting life, improve it. In relationships, once blame starts, the relationship faces risks, whether with family, friends, or colleagues. The worst thing about blame is that it blinds us, preventing us from seeing our own faults. Blaming is a bad habit. It leads us to put all mistakes on others and attribute all causes to the situation, making us overlook our own errors. Blaming is a kind of self-deception. Those who blame are often cowardly and weak, unwilling to take responsibility themselves and instead shifting it onto life and others to deceive themselves, living in misery and pettiness. By blaming, we see only others' mistakes, covering up our own faults, and thus sinking deeper into this habit. Blame is a vicious cycle with no escape. The less capable someone is, the more they blame, the poorer they become. The more they complain, the more they make excuses, the more they avoid responsibility, and the more useless they become. Living life instead of lamenting something, it's better to improve oneself, let go of all blame, and discover the joys of life. The story of Tang Guoqian and his brothers, along with Confucius's lessons from his travels, hope to show us that life doesn't need blame. Everything is already planned. Tang Guoqian's life was relatively smooth and successful, but not so for his brothers. The fourth and sixth brothers bought their positions, while the ninth and the youngest passed exams but went no further. These four brothers were quite troubled, often complaining. The sixth brother, Tang Guoqian Hua, was talented in literature. Tang Guoqian always hoped he could succeed with this talent. Tang Guoqian Hua was confident, but he consistently faced disadvantages in exams. This was a huge setback for a young man with high aspirations, leading to his continuous complaints. Tang Guoqian Hua blamed the examiners for not understanding his writings and even blamed his wife for not managing herself well, preventing him from focusing on his studies. But he never sought the reasons within himself. After learning this, Tang Guoqian wrote a letter scolding his brother, saying, "Your failures are due to your lack of effort and unwillingness to advance. Who else can you blame?" In Tang Guoqian's view, excessive blaming is a sign of uselessness. Such people complain at the slightest difficulty, indicating no future. Tang Guoqian said, "If you complain too much, you'll face more pressure. Blaming heaven unjustly won't help, and blaming people won't make them agree with you." People who complain too much will find their path difficult because they do not self-reflect, improve, or enhance their value. Failure is inevitable, and their complaints will alienate others. In the Analects, Cien Wen, Confucius said, "Blame not heaven nor others. Learn the trivial to understand the profound. Only heaven truly understands me." Confucius traveled through many states, facing all sorts of adversities, sometimes like a homeless wanderer, yet he never complained. He knew to cultivate his character and perfect himself. It's good for adults to find reasons within themselves. No effort is wasted. Everything is planned. Believe that as long as we try, even if we don't succeed, there will be other rewards. Those who don't make an effort and blame others or complain about events when they fail are truly the most hopeless and useless. 12. Being overly polite can sometimes be a dangerous ailment. If not addressed, it can harm oneself. Sometimes being too accommodating isn't always good. It's important to know when to say no and to help the right people at the right times. Doing so can prevent unnecessary troubles and avoid damaging relationships. From ancient times, our ancestors emphasized moral principles in human relationships. Whether through teachings or traditional stories passed down through generations, we are taught to be humble, to consider others before ourselves, being cautious in both words and actions, and not competing with others has become an unwritten rule in how we interact with people. This includes a rule known as being overly polite. People who are often overly polite are usually seen as kind and inherently good. They hesitate to hurt others, always considering the other person's perspective, and often take on injustices and difficulties themselves, bringing benefits and joy to others. They find it hard to refuse anything and hesitate to use the word no. 13. Other people don't hesitate to ask. So why should you hesitate to say no? Some people have no problem directly asking others for help without considering whether it might inconvenience or embarrass them. They only think about their own feelings, assuming that it's natural for you to help and viewing your refusal as a wrongdoing. They believe your assistance is expected, and anything less is cold and indifferent. But in reality, no one owes anyone anything. Helping someone is a kindness, and not helping is not a mistake. A few days ago, I got a call from KHươNG, whom I hadn't spoken to in a while. His first words were, "Is the egg next store owned by your relatives? A friend of mine is visiting today. Get him a discount, will you?" His tone sounded more like a command than a request for help. I reluctantly called my relatives to arrange something reasonable and then let KHươNG know. Right after I finished speaking, he hung up without even a word of thanks. I felt incredibly uncomfortable and angry at myself for not daring to refuse, not just because it cost me money, but because I didn't even receive a word of thanks. People who don't show gratitude eventually take others' help for granted. Being overly polite only feeds their greed. With such people, you shouldn't worry about hurting their feelings. You need to be firm and decisively say no.
If you like this video, please comment 1. And if you don't, comment 2. Your feedback means a lot to us. Thank you for your valuable time.
14. Politeness can lead to humiliating situations for the sake of pride. There are people who claim to be close to you and approach you for help. Sometimes even their relatives come to you when they need assistance. Out of goodwill, you reluctantly agree, but unexpectedly they start taking advantage of you, turning you into a tool for their gain. Their friends, colleagues, and even distant relatives start showing up asking for favors. They boast everywhere that they have a close relationship with you, which allows them to solve many problems easily and without any cost. But what they don't realize is how much you actually struggle each time you help them. Nam is one of these people. When I was in charge of the sales department, he bought a car and asked for my help. I couldn't say no, but soon after he brought his relatives to buy cars, followed by his colleagues, then the colleagues of his colleagues, and sometimes even strangers. Everyone who came tried to haggle relentlessly, appealing to our supposed friendship. I was almost tempted to give the car away just to avoid the hassle. Because of my feelings for Nam, I always had to put on a smiling face, but internally, I was weighing every little detail. Ironically, Nam didn't realize that his actions were causing me trouble. He even bragged about helping my business and often wanted me to take him out to dinner as a thank you. I was utterly speechless. Finally, there came a time when Nam brought a friend to buy a car, and I couldn't meet his unreasonable demands. From then on, I was seen as someone who betrayed his own people. Nam and I gradually developed a grudge, and the good friendship we had was slowly destroyed by my politeness, as our long-standing bond grew increasingly distant. 15. Saying no to someone isn't wrong. Don't let politeness harm you. When I was in college, I had a good friend. One day, they told me their mom was sick and needed to borrow some money. I couldn't bring myself to say no, wanting to help, even though I was just a poor student using my parents' money for my own expenses. It was right to help a friend in need. But after the situation stabilized, I felt awkward asking for my money back. My politeness and reluctance to speak up only made things harder for myself. As a result, I didn't dare tell my parents that I had lent out my living expenses. Later, I found myself scrimping and saving every meal, and my living standards dropped. It was then I truly felt the impact of my decision. Surprisingly, after more than 6 months, my friends still hadn't mentioned repaying the money. I saw them several times and wanted to ask about it, but I hesitated and missed my chance. People say that problems that can be solved with money aren't real problems. However, it seems that lending money can test the sincerity of relationships. Lynn once said there are many ways to destroy a relationship, but a sure way to uproot it is by lending money. How many conflicts are caused by loans that started because we were too hesitant to say no? 16. Being too polite can sometimes lead to frustration. Imagine you and a friend get train sleeper tickets. You're lucky enough to get the lower bunk so you can relax easily. But the person in the upper bunk says, "Hey, it's hard for me to climb up and down. You're young and agile. Can we switch?" You could outright say no, citing your fear of heights and how hard it was to get the lower bunk, right? After a busy day at work, finally ready to go home and relax, a colleague hands you a work plan, all smiles and compliments on your writing. Could you bluntly say, "I'm tired, I want to go home, and I really don't want to work overtime"? But you might hesitate, get annoyed, yet keep it to yourself until you can cool down at home. Here's another scenario. You buy a limited edition book, treasuring it immensely. A school friend comes over and asks to borrow it for a few days. You constantly think about when you'll get it back. But can you ask directly without risking your friendship? What's more beneficial in the end? Influenced by Eastern moral concepts, from giving up seats on public transport to larger actions like donating to charity, many people don't realize that helping others is not only about feelings but also about moral duty. Sometimes you might think being overly polite is good for others, but it can actually end up hurting both you and them. Politeness can be a double-edged sword that might harm others and even yourself. Regardless, don't let excessive politeness hinder your life. Overcome the fear of seeming rude and remember these principles. Distinguish between friends. Have the courage to refuse, respect principles, and do what you can. In relationships, simplicity is key. If something is beyond your ability, calmly say no. Just simply saying no can be the easiest approach. 17. Life has its simple joys. Once understood, our hearts feel wonderfully free. 1. Life's path is never smooth. It's always filled with bumps, obstacles, and various crossroads. There will be times when you take a wrong turn and feel discouraged or hopeless, but remember, just stand up and smile because life is shaping your character. 2. In the long journey of life, we face many ups and downs and a mix of happy and sad events. How can we make every step of the way enjoyable and comfortable? Perhaps the following advice will give you some motivation. 3. Men who don't try might end up smoking cheap cigarettes and doing manual labor for a lifetime. Women who don't try might only wear clothes from street vendors and buy cheap meals. Learn to strive. 4. Don't expect others to help you financially, as money is never enough for anyone. Those with $100 want $200. Those with $10,000 want $20,000. Learn to strive on your own. 5. Friends who help you are doing a good deed. But if they don't, it's not their fault and you shouldn't hold a grudge. Learn to understand situations. 6. Realize that not everyone will be there to help when you need it, and sometimes you must overcome challenges alone. Making yourself independent, resilient, joyful, and happy are your true tasks. Learn to be strong. 7. Don't choose friends based on their wealth. A wealthy friend's riches have nothing to do with your poverty. Don't settle for being average. Perhaps a friend without much might share their last piece of food with you. Learn to discern. 8. Don't shun poor friends who are rich in affection for wealthier acquaintances. You'll find that wealthy friends can afford lavish dinners and luxurious lives, but those rich in emotion might only offer simple pleasures like a day in the fields or by a stream without fine foods or music, yet they will share genuine laughter and adventures with you. Learn self-respect. 9. Believe that true, beautiful love exists, but don't think that every romantic story will happen in your life. Such tales often belong to legendary characters. Life is short and you want to live long. Learn to cherish. 10. Whatever reason you have for marrying, once you have children, you must love your family no matter how modest or poor. You have the responsibility to provide warmth and protection because you are a parent. Learn to shoulder responsibility. 11. Youth will disappear in the blink of an eye. Wrinkles will gradually mark our faces, and we can't stop time from altering our looks, but we can refine our hearts over the years, turning them into pearls as bright as the ones formed in oysters. When we are old, with white hair and slow steps, we might leave behind a shining pearl at the end of our journey. 12. There are many directions in life that require persistence, but you must follow the right path. Don't let your perseverance become an obstacle. If you find these thoughts valuable, share them with those who are losing their way in life. 18. You don't have to be in deep mountains to practice spirituality. You don't necessarily need to be in secluded mountains to practice spirituality. Everyday life itself is a vast field for spiritual growth. In fact, spirituality and life are unified. The purpose of spiritual practice is to address real-life problems. Discussing spirituality while ignoring life's practical aspects can lead to avoidance of real issues. Daily activities like cooking, washing dishes, and taking care of household chores are forms of spiritual practice too. Work elevates people and showcases their worth. With a steady mind, you can engage in spiritual practice through your daily tasks at any moment. No matter your current situation, if you approach your work with the right attitude, you are living a noble and valuable life. People often say that actions cultivate habits, habits form character, and character determines destiny. To handle complex tasks effectively, one needs to develop focused habits. For instance, when you are doing something, think only of that task as if it's the only thing in the world. This state of mind is what Confucianism calls reverence, and what Buddhism refers to as concentration. What is spiritual practice? Does it always mean withdrawing from life to chant and meditate in temples or hermitages? True spirituality is not about escaping to the mountains or retreating from society. It must be practiced in everyday life, at work. Indeed, life itself is spiritual practice. Spiritual practice prompts us to think of a hermit living alone in the mountains, detached from the world. However, this is a narrow view. Balancing work and family life, dealing with pressures and desires, and seeking harmony in complex relationships all make us see the real picture of life. Is there a specific method to develop character and train the spirit without undertaking special forms of spiritual retreat, like seclusion in the mountains? The key is to diligently engage in daily work where we live. Kazuo Inamori, one of Japan's most famous businessmen, once said, "Working is practicing. The workplace is a training ground. Every job is an opportunity for spiritual practice. Spiritual practice at work isn't just about sitting straight and chanting. It arises from a strong inner strength. Labor is not only economically valuable, but it also refines our character and spirit. The goal is not just to fulfill basic life needs, as these are secondary benefits of work. Therefore, focusing completely on daily tasks is crucial for reaching the highest level of spiritual practice." Buddha emphasized diligence as a key aspect of reaching enlightenment through practice. Diligence means focusing and exerting effort in one's work, constantly tapping into one's potential and improving character. A proverb says, "Achievement in work is less than becoming a person who knows how to work." Loving a job wholeheartedly requires full devotion. Character must be honed through work, implying that philosophy emerges from sweat and tears, and character is forged in daily labor. Focusing fully on our tasks, continuously reflecting and striving to perform well, teach us to appreciate every moment of life. Life is once only. Every day must be lived with utmost seriousness. Those globally recognized as leaders in their fields likely followed this path. Thus, Work not only generates economic value but also adds value to humanity. So why should people withdraw from ordinary life? The work environment is the best place to refine our spirits. Just by putting in genuine effort every day, cultivating noble character, we can lead a fulfilling life easily. In this world, there are no hopeless tasks, only people without ambition. There's an old carpenter who, upon deciding to retire, was asked by his boss to build one last house. The carpenter agreed but didn't put his heart into it. The materials used were substandard and the house wasn't up to his usual quality. Upon completion, the boss handed him the keys, saying, "This is your house, my gift to you." The carpenter was stunned, realizing he had built his own shoddy house because he had not maintained his professional pride to the end. Maintaining professional pride throughout one's career is rare. It demands that we give our best from start to finish in whatever we do. Ultimately, what we become is not determined by the hand life deals us, but by how we play our cards. The key to playing life's cards well is to enhance our professional dedication and passion, especially in a competitive era. Living is not just about enjoyment, it's a serious job. We all hope to be ambitious, but sometimes we don't know where to start. Perhaps revisiting the life philosophy you've long understood is the nutrient needed for a healthy mindset. People must always be awake in life. Some live for work, others for dreams, and some continue living to find out what they truly live for. Being born is a privilege given by God, but living must be based on our own wisdom and courage. Only by starting can one achieve ideals and goals. Only through effort can one achieve brilliant success. Only by sowing seeds can one reap harvests. Only by pursuing can one experience what it means to be truly upright. Focusing on education, dedicating oneself to work, practicing spirituality through work, refining professional spirit, actively changing attitudes, and unleashing increasingly strong life energy can lead to a calm and healthy life. If you find these stories inspiring and they motivate you to take action, please comment 9. If not, comment 0. Your feedback means a lot to us. Thank you for your valuable time. 19. The power of the heart, shaping your life from within. What you hold in your heart defines who you are. If your heart is filled with negative thoughts, selfishness, and hatred, you turn yourself into a vessel full of darkness and pain, ultimately harming yourself. However, if your heart is full of kindness, altruism, and love, you become a radiant and warm light, offering comfort and safety to everyone around you. When your heart is generous, sincere, and grateful, your life will be filled with bright light. Facing any conflict, if you first seek to correct your own faults, the shortcomings of others will dissolve in your vast, forgiving heart. If you consider others before yourself in all things, people will feel your warmth and care. This concern for others leads them to think of you in return, and eventually you will receive more than you give. If your heart embraces the world, petty disputes, quests for personal gain, and social status become insignificant under your wise gaze. You will live at ease, quietly aspiring to higher ideals and enjoying a beautiful life. Conversely, if your heart harbors seeds of hatred, they will grow and deeply root in your life, making you the first victim of your own resentment. If filled with envy, calculation, and greed, you will remain trapped in the darkness of narrow-mindedness and self-interest, isolating yourself from others. If your heart clings to job titles, stocks, and property, you will tire yourself chasing material gains. When these desires are met, your insatiable lust for more can blind you spiritually. We come with nothing and leave with nothing. Only our tireless, empty toil and regrets accompany us at the end. Your fate, whether you succeed or fail, become rich or remain poor, isn't determined by your looks or height, but by what your heart holds. If it holds goodness, your health will thrive. If it holds beauty, your appearance will be radiant. If it holds energy, your body will be vigorous. If it holds joy, your life will be full of happiness. If it holds confidence, you will live a comfortable, confident life. The essence of life, the future of your existence, lies not in confusion but right before you, in the choices you make, in what you hold in your heart. Fate follows the heart, and your path is shaped by it. We are like empty vessels, becoming whatever we fill ourselves with. 20. The power of calmness and understanding. Lessons from a strict boss. A broad mind is more important than a broad path, and a good heart outweighs good fortune. Life is never smooth sailing. It's full of ups and downs, gains and losses. That's what life is about. The human heart is like a road. The more calculating you are, the narrower it becomes. Conversely, the more serene you are, the broader your path will be. In life, there are some people who continually amaze us. They understand how to treat others and are thoughtful, calm, and composed. They handle everything without rushing or panicking, solving problems satisfactorily. How you treat others will determine how they treat you. This is the golden rule. Therefore, letting go is necessary to receive. Only by relinquishing can we be free from troubles, and only through forgiveness can we gain more. I once read a story about a company where the boss was known for being strict. A new assistant, often criticized harshly by the boss for minor issues, was very cautious at work to avoid angering him. However, he once made a significant mistake that led to a severe loss for the company. Believing he would be fired after a night of turmoil, he decided to resign proactively. But this time, the boss calmly listened to him, returned his resignation letter without blame, and even entrusted him with a major project. Years later, the assistant became a key player in the company. Reflecting on the past, the boss explained, "I was strict about the small things because you might overlook them, and if not careful, small issues could lead to significant losses. But with big issues, everyone knows their mistakes and will remember the lesson. Moreover, everyone has family burdens, with the elderly and children to care for. It's not easy for anyone. A bit of empathy can lead to understanding. When we throw mud at others, our hands are the first to get dirty. When we give flowers to others, we are the first to smell their fragrance. If one can calmly forgive, they will gain a lot of trust, affection, and resources. A gentle person may not claim to be the most successful in life, but they are certainly the most loved. In a lifetime, a broad mind is more important than a broad path, and a good heart is better than good fortune." 21. Do unto others as you would have them do unto you. In the Analects Wei-Ling Gong, there's a story like this. KHươNG asked, "Is there one word that one can act upon for one's whole life?" Confucius said, "Perhaps it is reciprocity. What you do not wish for yourself, do not do to others." To become a kind person, you only need to do two things. First, calmly forgive. In the face of others' mistakes and shortcomings, we must maintain tolerance and calmness, be strict with ourselves, patient with others, not be unreasonable with others, and be cautious in everything we do. Forgiving others is also forgiving oneself. Second, empathetic thinking. Do not treat others in ways that you would not want to be treated. Before you do something, first think from the other person's perspective. Find a balance between mutual benefits and use the most suitable method to achieve a win-win situation, making everyone feel comfortable. By doing so, you can avoid putting yourself in awkward situations, and most of your relationships will be smoother no matter the circumstances without fear, maintaining a warm and refined image. Such individuals are often the fastest and most stable at getting promotions and raises. Outside of work, at home, and in life, they are always able to handle conflicts correctly and adeptly, making others feel like a breath of spring air whenever. 22. The power of forgiveness and a broad mind. There's a saying, a broad mind leads to a wide path. If you are forgiving, you can let go of many things that seem unforgivable, thus avoiding heartache. A person who truly cultivates themselves can use compassion and tolerance to help others succeed, and in doing so, they are also improving themselves. Life isn't always smooth sailing, so when we can't change reality, we should try to adjust our thinking. If you always keep score, you'll find bitterness everywhere. If you let go, you'll always feel as calm as spring. If you keep things simple, the world can't become complicated. If you are like the sun, others will find it hard to be hurt.
If you like this video, please comment 1. And if you don't, comment 2. Your feedback means a lot to us. Thank you for your valuable time.